Okay, here we go. There it's on. Okay, good morning, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Krish Chetty. I work here at the HSRC, and this is a new initiative that we're starting off today. It's called AI Fridays. The idea being that we wanted to try and meet with just ordinary people more regularly and share what we've learned in some of the work that we're doing in the AI space. And so I'm sure all of you, you've probably met me or someone that I've been working with. And we've been talking about ideas about the value of AI literacy and just being aware of what's going on in the AI space. It's a very quickly moving space from week to week, day to day, almost there's new stuff that's going on. So I thought this would be a way for us to all kind of stay in the loop about what is happening. And then beyond that, I'd also like to figure out or see what are the issues that people are facing every day. Um, and so then we take question and answers, and myself and my team will try and answer your questions to the best of our ability. But welcome, you are most welcome to be here. Thank you for joining us on what I shall call an experiment. This is the first one. Perhaps before I go off into presentation mode, perhaps what we can do is do a round of introductions. I saw Pierrine, I saw you had popped in, your camera had turned on for a second. Maybe we can start with you and perhaps you can introduce yourself.
Sure. Happy Friday, everybody. My name is Pierrine Lekas. I'm currently based in Johannesburg, but from Cape Town originally. At the moment, my interest as to why I'm here is that I'm working on a GRI project. It's a global index on responsible AI, which is an index that's being set up for 170 different countries. Each country has a country researcher that's looking at the domestication, if you will, of the UNESCO ethical guidelines for AI. And so looking for evidence that can benchmark that. So I'm the country researcher for South Africa. It's a short project, should be over by February. So yeah, I'm just here to learn, gather as much information as I can, and happy to talk to anybody about the project if you want some more information. Thanks for having
absolutely.
me.
No, you're most welcome, and thank you for joining us. This is a learning space for all of us, and it's for us to swap information. So I'm very keen to learn more about what you're doing, and perhaps we can also talk about some of the wider work that we're doing on here in the HSRC. But maybe this could just be the launching point for those engagements. But you're most welcome, and happy to have you here. Could I call on Brian? Brian, I see you here. Maybe you can introduce yourself and your team that might be with you.
Okay, so I'm not 100% sure who is here with me in terms of the team because I invited a couple of them. But then what I'll just introduce myself as well as what we do. So Brian from Vuleka Platform. The platform works with informal businesses where we are an aggregator for the informal businesses by using their orders and also undertaking the process to deliver to the businesses. But not only that, we then use their buying and payment history to be able to create profiles for them and also work with the consumers that actually buy from these informal businesses. So we're here to also learn on how we can use AI to enhance what we're doing for the informal sector, but to also make it easier for us to do work within the sector and also work with our business to automate a couple of the processes that we're doing quite manually at the moment. So I invited the team that does the sales, I invited the team that is in the warehouse to actually also join so that we can see what type of AI tools are actually there for the platform and enhancement.
Oh, excellent. Glad to have you here. Brian, I see that there's Evans. Is Evans with you?
Yes.
And Evans, would you like to introduce yourself? You might be on mute, Evans. Okay, no problem. But Brian, welcome, and thank you for bringing the team from Vuleka on board. I know it's a busy day today, and you decided to try and slice some time out of your day to join us. Brian and I were participating in the recent HSRC Connect. That's a cheap plug from my side. So if you go to the HSRC YouTube channel, you'll find the episode that we did last Friday, I think it was. And we were talking about AI in the informal sector. So anybody interested, have a look there. But thank you, Brian, for joining us. Let me go through the list on my side, and perhaps my HSRC colleagues, I'll just call on you, and you can just jump in and introduce yourself. I'll start with Leah.
Morning, everyone. My name is Leah. I work as a researcher on the Income of Education project. It's just looking at the livelihoods of postgraduates who've been funded by the MasterCard Foundation post graduation. And with that, it's just also working towards understanding education and its connection to economic development.
Great, thank you, Leah. Noketo?
Hi everyone, my name is Noketo. I work as a senior researcher at the HSRC and together with Leah on the Imprints of Education project.
Sure, great to have you here, Noketo. Nondu?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nandumiso Masuku, and I work with the rest of the HSRC team in the EEE unit. Lovely to meet you all.
Notando?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Nota Ndonjai. I'm working on the Imprint of Education project with the other colleagues as mentioned, but now a newfound passion on artificial intelligence, and yeah, that's it from me.
Great. Thank you, Notando. Petronella?
Good morning. I'm Petronella. I'm a research specialist in the HSFE, and I'm also working on some other projects, but for now the focus is on AI in education. Good morning.
Great, thank you, Petronella. Sabelo?
Greetings, colleagues. My name is Sabelo Mbisi. I work within the TIE project as well as a young African research fellow. Thank you.
Great. And Tahia?
Hi, colleagues. My name is Tahia. I am a researcher at HSRC, and I've recently joined this incredible team, and I hope to be looking at AI and how it can facilitate climate mitigation. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Tahia. Thanks for being here with us. So we've got a large contingent of the HSRC colleagues with us, all of us doing different pieces of research, but all have an interest in AI. And so this is an opportunity for us to engage with the likes of Brian from Vuleka, engage with Pierrine in the work that she's doing with her index. And for us just to share information, and where we have questions, please shout it out. And I'm trying to be as informal as I can be with just a hint of structure to guide our time as we go through here. Notando, maybe I can ask you just to keep an eye on the clock and maybe guide me as we go through this. Sometimes I get carried away when I start talking, and maybe you can say, let's go on to the next section of or session of the day. So we've done the introductions. What I thought we could do next is very quickly, I just collected a few videos from news about AI from November. So as I mentioned, AI is moving pretty quickly. There's all kinds of stuff that keeps going on. But I thought, let me share with you some of the big news that happened in November. Yeah. So it started off with OpenAI. They had what they call their Dev Day. It was at the beginning of the month. And so I've got a few videos here which we could play. I hope this will be clear on your side. Please let me know if you can't hear it. But I'm just going to press play here. We'll run through a few of them and then we'll talk about it.
Welcome to our first ever OpenAI Dev Day.
Hope that's loud enough.
We are launching a new model, GPT-4 Turbo. GPT-4 supported up to 8K and in some cases up to 32K context length. But we know that it isn't enough for many of you and what you want to do. GPT-4 Turbo supports up to 128,000 tokens of context. We're also updating the knowledge cutoff. We are just as annoyed as all of you, probably more, that GPT-4's knowledge about the world ended in 2021. We will try to never let it get that out of date again. GPT-4 Turbo has knowledge about the world up to April of 2023, and we will continue to improve that over time. And with our new text-to-speech model, you'll be able to generate incredibly natural-sounding audio from text in the API with 6 preset voices to choose from. I'll play an example.
Did you know that Alexander Graham Bell, the eminent inventor, was enchanted by the world of sounds?
Yeah, so that was one.
Welcome to our first ever.
Go to the next slide.
Welcome to our first ever. These are tailored versions of ChatGPT for a specific purpose. You can build a GPT, a customized version of ChatGPT for almost anything, with instructions, expanded knowledge, and actions, and then you can publish it for others to use. We're going to launch the GPT store. You can list a GPT there, and we'll be able to feature the best and the most popular GPTs. Of course, we'll make sure that GPTs in the store follow our policies before they're accessible. These are
Okay, so that basically, that video was some announcements from OpenAI at the beginning of the month where they've expanded the context window. So you can, if you're using the paid version of ChatGPT, you can now work with 128,000 tokens, which is roughly about 100,000 words. So they've expanded their capacity, and they're offering new ways for you to engage with the tool called GPTs. Now, with that, it's a paid version on OpenAI, but you can also use free versions of a similar tool on po.com. And so here's a quick video about what's going on po.com.
Create your very own AI bot in minutes and level up your chat game with a new tool from Quora called Po. With Po, it's super easy to create a bot based on a short text prompt and an existing bot as a base. You'll enjoy the same seamless UI experience on all your devices, with conversation state syncing and user history persistence taken care of. Imagine having your own custom AI bot that reflects your personality or business needs. Whether it's for fun, productivity, or customer engagement, the possibilities are endless with Po. Note that creating a bot through this method just requires writing a natural language text prompt and does not require any programming. Ready to unlock the power of user-created bots with Po? Follow for more.
So if you're keen to build your own chatbots, it's something we can talk about. We've done some on Po as well. That might be interesting for us to have a look at a little later. And then there's a whole lot of drama that's been going on after OpenAI had their big announcement in the beginning of the month. Just admitting a few people coming in. Is it Piwe? So maybe let me just give a rundown of what did happen with the OpenAI drama. Sam Altman got fired on one of the Fridays, about 2 weeks ago, I think it was now, 2 or 3 weeks. And it was very soon after their OpenAI Dev Day, and there were concerns, or we don't actually know what the reasons were at that point of why Sam Altman was fired, but there were 6 members on the OpenAI board, and 4 of the 6 decided that he should be fired, and then Sam Altman's buddy and president of the board, Greg Brockman, was also dropped from the board. Greg Brockman then decided to quit as well from the organization as a whole. And over the course of the weekend, there was a lot of uncertainty about what the leadership would look like at OpenAI. And then I think it was Monday, there was an announcement that you see here, there's the Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella. He's in this picture as well. And he had then offered Sam Altman and all the staff from OpenAI positions under Microsoft. And it almost seemed that 700 of the 770 staff that worked at OpenAI were going to jump ship and go to Microsoft. And so with that sort of pressure, the current board at that time then decided to resign, and Sam Altman and the staff then decided to return back to OpenAI. Now, the reasons behind all of this drama is a bit unclear, but the current theory is that OpenAI are on the precipice of generating artificial general intelligence. So this is quite a significant moment in the history of AI. If it is true, there was a tool called Q star that they were working on, and with Q star, it's found that they've now cracked the solution to having the machine work through maths. So here's a quick video explaining what Q star is and why it's such an important moment.
Before temporarily removing OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, several staff researchers wrote a letter to the board expressing their concerns about a significant AI development called Q-Star. They believed that Q-Star had the potential to pose a threat to humanity. This concern, along with other factors, contributed to the board's decision to terminate Altman. Q-Star is an AI innovation that claims to have the ability to solve specific mathematical problems, representing a significant breakthrough in OpenAI's quest for artificial general intelligence, AGI, that surpasses human capabilities in most economically valuable tasks.
Yeah, so that's basically it. And if you and what was interesting also in the aftermath of that whole fiasco, OpenAI changed their about page on their website, and they've then changed their mission to clearly state that it's to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. So this centering of AGI wasn't as explicit as it is now. And so it's right up there up front. If you go to openai.com, you'll now see it's clearly stating that they're focusing on AGI. So a lot of the issues that people are talking about was that they were trying, that the core of the issue was on one hand, you had the board that was favoring safety, and then the others are saying that Sam Altman was pushing for commercialization. And if we think about what's happened here, it seems like the commercialization element has won. And so with Microsoft's billions that they pumped into there was enough pressure that was then placed on that board, forcing them to resign, and Sam Altman to come back in. So it's an interesting dynamic, and it shows where the power actually lies. Even though the board was a non-profit board, there were 6 members that thought they had the power. In the end, the power landed with where the money was and where the staff voted to move to. And so the staff decided to follow Microsoft, and yeah, and then the rest is history. Yeah, so what is this? I think I've got one more video. Oh, okay. And then the last bit of news is just yesterday or 2 days ago, actually, there was some new breakthroughs in the AI video creation space. So there's a website, or I think it's called pika.art. You could go there, and they're now creating these very succinct short videos. And this clip that I'm about to play will show you how they're doing it. It's about 2-second videos, but you'll just see how clear it is in what they're able to do. Yeah. So that's more or less it. Maybe let me stop there. Brian, when I saw that video of them generating those videos, I thought of you, and I thought, imagine if Vuleka could be generating ads using a tool like that. I'm not sure what the pricing would be, but I mean, it's a very quick win, I think. Yeah. So any questions based on what I've gone through? Brian, you want to come in?
So I don't think it's a question per se. It's more a comment regarding, like you just mentioned, regarding the generation of the ads. I don't think it's more around not only generating ads, but also using the educational content for it. And, generating like a way or a video of actually showing the informal businesses how to use our platform, where it can be more of an educational thing rather than us having to explain. Someone can watch a quick video that is generated through AI on how you can use the platform, and ask questions, and then be able to get feedback without necessarily having to speak to a human being.
Yes. I mean, this is where these tools are going as well. So you could be building an AI avatar. I remember you saying that you had that experience in China where you had these AI avatars that were selling products on behalf of was it Alibaba? And so they have the information about the product, and then people talk to the AI entity, and you're having a conversation like how we're having now, but that AI is pitching you on whatever it is that you're interested in and trying to convince you to sell it. So you have an AI sales force that's being generated with those sorts of tools. Do you want to say a little bit about what your experience in China was like, Brian?
So specifically with AI, it was around how they're using artificial intelligence to, as you've mentioned, it makes sales. So the one big thing that they have that I think we're a bit behind with is that they're using the avatars on social media channels. So the avatar would have its own social media channel. So if you look at it as in almost having a TikTok account that can be followed by people, then the avatar is able to sell products with a link that links directly back to the e-commerce platform. But this allows for the avatar to essentially for 24 hours run sales or a sales functionality without necessarily having a human being behind it. But not only that, people are able to ask questions about the products, and because it has already got data that has been previously fed to it, it is able to respond back to those questions. So rather than we have a lot of problems when people are buying online with when you're trying to contact customer services, you have to either call a number or send an email or do all of these things, and then you get feedback within 24 hours, or they tell you they'll get back to you between 2 and 3 days or 5 days or whatever the case may be. In this case, you get the feedback instantaneously. Yes. So you are able to say, I've got this problem with this product, and then it gives you an answer because it's already been pre-populated, or it's been told if a question like this comes in, then you respond that way. And I think when you're looking at it from the customer's point of view, it's more instant gratification than anything else. Like, it's easier to trust a platform like that is able to tell you are. Another thing that they're using AI for is for tracking of products. So now you don't necessarily have to, for a lot of the courier companies right now, when you have to track your product, you've got a reference number, you've got this, and then it will tell you it's out for delivery, or it's, it gives you like almost an estimate of when you will get it. What they do there is that the AI chatbot is essentially able to tell you exactly where the delivery is. So if right now it can tell it's as if you're chatting to someone that you're asking, here's the delivery reference. It tells you it is out for delivery. It's currently at this address. From here it will go there. From here it will go there. Then it will come to you on this. Like at this time, like this is you waiting the whole day and not necessarily knowing exactly what time the delivery comes. So I think it just shows the advancement of where they are. And I think another thing away from AI was when it comes to payments as well, where they've moved on from using the cards that we currently are using to using facial recognition for payment, where you get into a shop and you essentially can self-check out the product that you've got, and the cameras scan your face and deduct the money from your linked account.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? It's so fascinating, and thank you, Brian, for sharing that. I mean, you look at my presentation, and it's all Western dominated, right? It's what OpenAI is doing. It's about the drama that's going on with Sam Altman, but China is like a black box, really, to the rest of the world. And if you're not there, you don't know what's actually happening there. And you've got so many different players that are in that space in China. So I know you met with Alibaba, and then there's all the WeChat people, there's the JD. There's like a whole ecosystem that we don't understand, and they're all competing and pushing one another, and we don't know how advanced the Chinese models are. But that said, we are members of BRICS, and there are opportunities for us to work with Chinese companies like the ones that you met with, and try and bring those sorts of advances back here. After you saw that, what did you think, Brian, would be like some of the best use cases that you might adopt with Vuleka? Did you think these AI avatars could be something that we could roll out? Or is it the chatbot route that you're going into?
So the chatbot route, firstly, would be I believe the easiest or the quickest, because it's easier when we are getting, an order from a customer for someone to be able to, or for the chatbot to be able to respond back. Do you have this product? Yes. What's the price? There it is. And then another thing then becomes the fact that, the avatars then become more of a second stage of it, where now we're using the avatars to promote the products from the brands, where if there's a new product that has come out from say Unilever or a Coca-Cola, it's easier for the avatar to use that through the platform or the ads like you spoke about, where a quick ad can be done and it's on our platform for someone to see. You don't necessarily have to go see now an ad on TV or download something to watch an ad. It's quick to be able to promote products directly using different platforms and linking that also onto potentially WhatsApp, where it's easier for people to actually consume the content.
Yeah. And the development for that, do you think it's something complicated? Is it something that you're exploring already?
So we're exploring not necessarily, we're exploring a WhatsApp development for order placing, where it is a WhatsApp store. It is a bit of a chatbot, but it's not as intelligent as what we saw, what the AI is out there. Because the biggest thing I think with AI is that it depends on the information that it is fed or the data that it is fed. And right now, we don't have a lot of data to feed like to feed the AI for it to learn what it is that, it can give answers back for. So I don't necessarily think that it is that complicated, especially with the open source AI software that's out there, but it also needs a lot of understanding, I believe. And I think it also needs education, not only from our side, but from the people that are going to be using the platform. So I think there needs to be a stigma that's removed from, the consumers, the shop owners, to say this is not just some crazy type technology that is too complicated for you to use. But just like when someone is searching off Google, you don't necessarily understand what the search engine or where it gets the information from, but then we're comfortable with using that. And I think this is the next step from that.
Yeah. So I mean, this could be the next step. And as you say, you don't quite care to understand the algorithm behind it. It's the results that matter. In the end for you. And you're also touching on an important point that we've been trying to overcome with our AI skills development roadshows, is the fear of the technology, right? There's a lot of people that think that this is not for them and that these are things that the corporates are doing. But I love what you're saying about the open source technologies that are there, the open source systems that you can take advantage of. And so much of the work is already done. And so you can see, how do you adapt this and fit it in your environment? And I mean, getting that WhatsApp integration into your business data, that could be quite the game changer. And then you can start to allow your spaza shop owners in the community can talk to your data. And imagine the insight that offers to them. So yeah, no, it's a fascinating space, and I'm sure I mean, we could go on and just have a Vuleka discussion for the rest of the hour. But I'm wondering, has anybody got any thoughts based on what you saw? Petronella, I saw you switched off the camera at a point. Any thoughts on how this might apply in the education space or with the work that you're doing at the moment? Does it stir any new ideas, any questions that you might want to have? Anyone?
Oh, hi. Sorry, Krish. No, currently in the education space is just the concern regarding the ethics. I think yesterday we also had a session where the professor was quite concerned about the ethical aspects of excuse me, of AI in the education space, especially regarding the quality and the biasness of the algorithms. So that is the current trends in the education space.
Okay. Quality and ethics. I mean, these are big issues, and it goes really to the heart of how these models are built. And if we're going to be writing on the education space as well, it's something that we've got to explore more
yes,
deeply.
especially with this, the new cohort of teachers that are going to enter the field next year. There's among the colleagues concern about especially the quality of work that they've submitted compared to the previous cohort of teachers. They mentioned like it's hard to detect whether they've used ChatGPT to maybe submit lesson plans or design, especially with the design of assessments, because you can ask ChatGPT to design an assessment based on Bloom's taxonomy and include certain. So some of them are not really sure if the teachers they send out now for next year, the novice teachers of next year's, if it's really if the work was purely based on ChatGPT that what ChatGPT generated, or was it really the work of the student themselves? So the UNESCO, they provided guidelines on how to use the ChatGPT, for example, but at the end of the day, we all know students, they just want to pass, and ChatGPT allows them to pass well. And at this stage, they are not very concerned about the ethical part of using the program. They just want to pass it to the best of their ability and not repeating a module. So in the teaching space, the quality of the teachers that they send out into the field, and especially the ethical part about it, is quite concerning at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. And I mean, there's two angles to it, right? It's one, the teacher can now develop new rubrics, new course plans for the year. And then I wonder how bad is it if they actually are complementing their work with AI, because maybe that can fill in some of the gaps that the teachers might have from a quality perspective.
Yeah,
Then
because they are concerned that the students might get too comfortable or over reliance on the AI. Where do you draw the line? Because for the day when the ChatGPT or AI is not available, then how will they then maybe teach that specific class or prepare without the support of AI?
I mean, it's a fascinating space to be in now, because it's almost like the education sector was the one that was first hit by the shock of AI, and it has to respond very quickly. And perhaps here in South Africa, in less developed spaces, you won't have that intense usage of AI that you might find in the more developed countries. But it doesn't mean it doesn't exist and that it's hasn't created these unfair scenarios that might exist. But beyond that, for me, the thing is that AI is not going to go away. It's only going to expand, become more prevalent everywhere. And it's a question about how do we respond to these changes, right? And so what needs to happen in the education sector for us to then perhaps level up the education sector so that the teachers are capacitated to use it. The teachers know how to drive critical thinking. Students know how to engage with the tool and not just accept any answer that comes back from a ChatGPT. So there's so much work that needs to be done here, and I guess these are the things that we want to explore. I'm seeing a few comments popping up in the chat. Ipa, welcome. I didn't see you when we joined, but perhaps you can introduce yourself. Tell us about the work that you're doing, and maybe talk about GPT-0.
Morning, everyone. My name is Ephafrus. I used to work for HSRC at some point, and I think Krish was my first manager. So currently I'm working in the banking sector.
So in terms of the work that is being carried out in the bank, so everyone is looking into AIs, like all the products that you see. If you're using some of the banking apps, you'll notice that they are able to just offer you a product right away. Like with just one click of a button, it overrides all the paperwork, everything that you need to go to the branch and do. So most of the work in the background, it's actually driven by so at this point they call them macros. So a macro, it's more like a bot that it's designed. So its purpose is to so we pass all the questions that that may be asked when you're applying for a specific credit, and then if you tick yes for most of them, then we push a product to you. So you might notice that since you're going into festive season, some will have pop-ups to say you have a credit card approved, doesn't need any approval or any of those. Then you can just click approve. You can just click apply. Then the next screen will just tell you the terms and conditions. Once you say finish, then automatically it starts sending you email about quotations, everything that you've signed up for. So all that thing happens without a human intervention. And then the other one is where I work is the recent move from the HR system. So the HR system, initially, if you wanted something, you actually had to go and ask someone. So what they've done, they've incorporated what we call Bing AI. So the Bing AI, it's a plugin that is put on Microsoft Edge. So if you activate that Bing chat or Bing AI, so if you ask, for example, how many days of leave am I entitled to? So Bing AI is able to go through all HR policies and then get all the policies with the links as to which policy is it referring to, and then starts explaining to you, you are entitled to this number of days in your current employment and all that. And very recent, I think in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So I also do software development. One of the key challenge when you do software development, for example, if you look at your WhatsApp, the landing screen. So if you were to sit down and redesign the whole screen, it will take you forever. If you look at your Twitter, if you look at your banking app, so what there's some sort of a chat AI, but it's only for developers. It uses a Flutter API. So if you are able to just take a screenshot of what you want and then pass on to this API, what it does, it goes and generates a simple applet which has the screen that you need. It has all the assets that you need and everything. So that's something new that I've discovered, and also translating from just basic text. For example, if you're introducing your company, we know that, for example, if you're developing a website or developing an app, so what you type on a Word document, it's not in the format that apps want in the back end. So you just pass it to ChatGPT and then tell it how do you want to restructure it. So you can just say I want to restructure it as an Android code which has everything that's in it, and also do refactoring. If the words are too long, shorten them such that they mean the same thing, but they are just short, and then they can fit into this app. So that has been going on quite well. And then in terms of app development, instead of focusing on one, you can actually do 3 apps now, because you just basically just pass this commands into this APIs, and then they just give you, either it gives you a screen or it gives you the formatted text that you need. So that saves a lot of time from you typing from one document to another and all that.
Wow, Ipa, there's so much going on in the bank sector. Are these systems have already been rolled out, or is it work that's in progress?
So the first one, the Bing chat, is being rolled out internally. So the concern around that is around the ethics. So remember, this Bing API, it's a third-party application which is able to go into every banking system to look into the data. So what they've done now is they've restricted it to only look at the specific part of the business, and then it can only be used by specific people. But the one that only goes and read the documents, everyone in the bank can just go and ask an AI. One of the common questions that people used to ask was, how do you do your leave commission? So whereby you just sell your leave day back to business. So since we moved into a work day, so things were no longer the same. But the chat GPT, their Bing AI actually showed that a lot of people have been asking that question. So it even recommended, why can't business just send out a mail on how it's done? So in their back end, it actually recommend how can they simplify their things.
So maybe we'll just focus on the Bing AI for a second. What did it involve to do that? Because that sounds like something the HSRC could do. Any organization that's keen to be managing the HR process and wants to manage their policies? I mean, that's an ongoing problem where we never know what's the latest policy. We never know what the issues are. How did the bank go about doing this? Did they have their own developers that had a look at the API and then built a chatbot on bank policies? What was the process that was followed?
So the process started with looking at the information within the bank and then deciding what can be shared, what cannot be shared. And then I think you still remember the BIW, the warehouse in the bank. So they've tasked them to go and look at how best can they integrate the information that sits on either SharePoint and all that, but they must first put a tag to say this can be read by an AI, this cannot be read by an AI. Then after that, they just went and then purchased a Bing AI subscription for the enterprise subscription. So the good thing is that this AI is able to identify multiple sources. So it can identify your CSV, Excel, your databases, and all that. So it can run all those queries without you writing. For example, if you want to understand how much on average people are spending on a specific day, it's actually able to go and do that, even though for some specific people it can, but for just a standard user like myself, it won't, because on the tagging, they just basically told you that only this, mostly the executives can actually ask it those kind of questions. But with us, there's limitation as to what we can ask and then what we can read as well.
Yeah, wow. So, I mean, the bank is now in perhaps a better position than some organizations because you have that in-house development team and you have the budget to also run an app like this. Do you have a sense of how much it costs to run something like this?
So in terms of cost, I have no idea. But I know that so far, since they've moved in that direction, so on the app itself, they've actually integrated more than 100 applets. So applet is just a basic app that you can literally overlay on top of an application. So with the help of AIs, they actually managed to deploy more than 100. For example, your funeral covers, your vehicle asset balances, your insurances, your wills, your life covers, everything. They've developed an applet which actually can interface with their system to give you all the information. So from driving the claim and all that. So you can actually go onto the chat and then chat to a bot, tell it that I have been in an accident. It asks you preliminary question and then it assesses and then can tell you that this is a difficult one. It needs authorization from a human being, or it just goes straight. For example, if you want to repair a chip on your windscreen, you can actually log a whole claim without even talking to an actual person, and then you'll just get a reference number. You go to pitch it last. They fix your crack on the windscreen without talking to anyone.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. While I'm chatting to Ipa, if anybody has any questions, please raise your hands because I'm finding this fascinating. And it's also saying to me, it sounds like the bank's development processes have just exploded, right? From when I used to work in the bank more than 10 years ago, these things used to move much more slowly. I never heard the word applet before when we were there. And it was always one function at a time, 6 months, 9 months before you ever see anything reaching production. But from basically what you're saying now, Ipa, it sounds like things are moving so fast.
Yes. So, yeah. And also in the bank, I think they have same number of developers, but most of them are focusing on these new ways of doing things. Because to put something now on the app, it takes just a developer and a tester. So a developer will just create an applet and then a tester can test if it works. Then they release every Sunday. So there's a lot that they can do. And then every
Sunday, did you say?
Yes, every Sunday there is something that's happening.
Okay.
So it's either they might be changing something or they might be adding something onto the app. But yeah, every Sunday there's something either on the employee side or on the personal banking side. So remember, the employees, their app is different from what any other person sees.
So, I mean, the big narrative that people were saying was that when AI comes along, that the developer's job is going to fall away. But now it sounds like the developer's job has just multiplied. And if you are now putting out something every Sunday, it means the amount of work that's expected has accelerated much faster than what it used to be.
Yeah, because I also used to share the same sentiment because the team that I work for. So they actually, it's under automation and insights. So I used to think that when everything is automated, because the role is to take any legacy process and then automate it. So my thought was, if we automate, for example, your compliance reporting, all those reporting that those were filled with errors, if we automate it and then it's done in a perfect manner, what will happen to those people who are working there? But it's very funny how I think the chief data analytics officer mentioned that in the bank, what they pride themselves with is that they rather empower somebody who knows nothing than to let them off the job. So what they do currently, you'll find out that somebody who used to be maybe doing quality assurance, sitting with the phone, now it only monitors the reporting. So you basically have to share the reporting with this person. So this person checks what our automated process produces, because this person has worked for that product for so long. So any error that arises from the automated process, it's easier for this person to find it than myself, because in most cases I'll be working with maybe 80 processes that I have to automate and monitor. If an error happens, sometimes I don't even know what happened. Sometimes I find out that there is less data. I don't even have idea where this data comes from. But if that person is still retained within the bank, so it's easier to ask that person to say, can you help? I'm receiving low numbers. Then the person will be like, oh, call this third party, ask if they've uploaded. Then you call, they say, no, we had an issue. Then it's actually solve problems easier. So no one is being laid off. So there's always a way to just keep moving people around within within different spaces, while ensuring that a lot of things are being automated.
And are you seeing new jobs coming in? Are there is there an AI division, or is it expected that everybody needs to know something about AI?
So at the moment, the whole bank is in employment freeze. So meaning they can't hire anyone. So if you leave, then they don't replace that person, because they know that the process probably is automated. People are actually having less to do. Someone can just take over from what this person was doing. So they're not looking into hiring anyone. But what they usually do is to look into the bank and then try to set up structures such that, for example, if I'm good with if I'm doing software development outside my work, and then they can just be like, okay, fine, we found this particular AI that you want to integrate, and then it uses this language. For example, how much do you know about it? Can we take it for a ride, for example, see if it works?
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. So much happening so fast. Sabelo, Petronella, I've been seeing you guys have been typing something. Maybe you want to just shout out. Maybe you have a question for Ipa or for anyone. You can come in now.
Yeah, and just to add on the GPT-0, I don't. In the last week, something around the AI space that has been trending is whether Ramaphosa's speech was generated by an AI or he wrote it himself. So the investigation are still undergoing, but the best way to find out is to use ChatGPT-0 to find out before they can find out.
Okay.
So that's
one if you take the transcript and you put it through gpt0.me, you'll find out what percentage of AI wrote his speech.
Yes.
Okay, I need to be following this news. Sabelo says no questions on his end. Petronella, do you have something that you want to add?
No questions at this stage.
Okay. Maybe I call on Brian and Pierrine to close us out. Maybe you have any comments that you want to add based on the discussion that we've had today. Maybe any thoughts, colleagues, on how we improve these sorts of sessions, or what we could focus on in the next round when we do this again. Yeah, any views are most welcome.
Okay. Yeah, I think firstly, hearing what the banks are doing is quite amazing, and just thinking about the fact that when I mentioned that we were looking at scoring mostly informal businesses, this is something that they are already doing or looking at doing, and could come in to essentially help us with that. And then just as a comment for the next session, I think maybe we need to have, or actually prepare towards this, like the session. So if we're going to have the next session, maybe we have or focus on a specific part of AI and prepare, like as the people that are coming in, prepare for it, and essentially even if we can send through questions beforehand, and those questions can then maybe be answered. We start off by going into those questions and answering those questions, and also to take it through to a more practical level, where people can say, for me in my daily life, how can I do this, or how can this change using it?
Yeah, spot on. I love that. I think, yeah, so if everybody has my email address, or if you don't, kchetty@hsrc.ac.za. Perhaps you can drop me a mail and say, help me with issue A, B, and C, and then we could prepare something that we could present to you. Leah, I see your comment that you just added, where we could go through an activity like producing a chatbot. What I would like to do actually, let me invite perhaps everyone that's here to go to po.com, sign up for that. I'll send some, as a follow-up to this meeting, I'll send out a set of links of chatbots that we created. We built a therapist on po.com. We built a tool to help you prepare for interviews. And then we also built a tool to guide you if you're starting a business. And the idea was these are free tools that are available on po.com. And it is something that anyone could prepare. It's not very difficult to do. And perhaps we could do that as the next exercise, is have everybody create their own custom chatbot, perhaps based on some information that they have, that you could upload into po.com. So I do like that idea. Have I captured the essence of what you had in mind, Leah? Do you want to say anything in addition to that?
I think you've captured, Krish. I was just thinking about just doing more practical things as we speak about AI. So like website design and like writing and things like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. And let's think about how we structure the time. I thought this is the first one, so I'm just trying to get to grips with how to manage the time and get everybody engaged in a way. And it's good to have everyone here. We're just about hitting 12 o'clock now. Pierrine, any thoughts from you before we close?
Mute. My own bias, I guess, or interest is really in the regulation, of AI, talking about being in the remit of impact assessments, ethical considerations, really. With the study that we're doing now, there's 29 different indicators looking at the actions that are taken by government in terms of frameworks, or setting up partnerships, starting initiatives, working groups, that type of thing. And then also for academia, for the private sector, as well as civil society organizations, which I'm finding is the hardest one to find evidence of, like working in the sector to raise awareness about the risks and benefits, talking about guidelines for procurement. We see SARS, CETA, the digital health strategy, everybody's starting to include artificial intelligence, but are we really thinking about what the impact is, just like are jobs being lost? Where's the data going? And South Africa is in a very interesting kind of situation, because if you think about it, we had algorithmic decision-making regulation in 2013 already when POPI came along. But deep diving and defining and implementing and enforcing these things, I'm finding, as usual, is where the challenge is. So if anybody knows absolutely anything in the remit of that, please do reach out to me, because I also want to make sure that I'm doing the country justice and giving highlighting the good work that's being done. So yeah, that's my story.
I think we must stay in touch. Perhaps we can arrange some time for next week where we could talk in more detail about some of the work that we're doing, and then we can swap notes. But yeah, I'm 100% with you. We need to have these practical examples come to the fore so that those are showcased. And so what we're trying to do here is just start something. I didn't know what shape this discussion would have taken today. And I'm just trying to bring people together and see what emerges. I really like what Leah is saying about us doing practical examples so people can test it out and build their abilities in some way. But this is also an opportunity for us to connect. So maybe you want to reach out to IPA and talk about what's going on in the banks. We can swap details there. If you want to learn more about what's happening with Vuleka and how they're trying to support the informal sector in Gauteng, yeah, we can connect there. So yeah, so you could just, I mean, you'll find them, and or you could contact, come through me, and I'll make the introductions where needed. But thank you so much for joining us. Brian, I would suggest that you and IPA chat as well. It seems like there are some synergies there in your thinking about, as you're saying, with the credit scoring apps and those sorts of things. Maybe IPA has some ideas to help you get that ball rolling, because IPA is quite indoctrinated in the banking sector right now. So if anything, he can point you in the right direction. Yeah, for sure. So thank you, everyone. Really nice engagement today, nice discussion. I think this has got the ball rolling. I'm not sure if we do this again next week, Friday. I'm booked in a workshop myself, but maybe the following Friday we can do another one. But yeah, I'm loving that we've started something and that we've put down a flag, and now we can build on there. So my thanks to everyone for joining. I'll drop some emails about the resources that are there. I'll share more information about po.com, and let's try a few things and come back when we meet again and share more information. But thanks for joining. Thanks for chatting. And we'll talk soon. Cheers, everyone.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Cheers, colleagues. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Krish. Bye.
Thanks for joining.